Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced, I would like to provide a short recap of day one and also attempt to lay out the agenda for the second day. Firstly, we learned actually yesterday that this is a fully carbon neutral event. We have sustainable food choices here. We have even sustainable decorations here behind me. So I wanted to use firstly this opportunity to thank the organizers and also the hosting organization, ASEAN, for making this possible, because we have to walk the walk, we cannot just talk the talk. So this meeting is fully sustainable. We started off actually yesterday with an opening remarks from our UN Environment Regional Director, Madame Dechen Charing, and she reminded us that the 2030 agenda is really all about triggering transformative change. It's a universal plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. She really would like to see the region ready to take advantage and to embrace business unusual approaches. So in that regard, Switch Asia, the project, the regional policy component, which is organizing this meeting and which is kindly funded by the European Union, is a tremendous opportunity to look into circular economy and how we can transform towards more inclusive development. And that's the reason why we look into all those areas which are incredibly important to make progress on this pathway. We look into innovative policy solutions. We looked yesterday already into innovative financing solutions, but we will also today look into innovative business models, disruptive technologies, and also into the behavior changes needed to actually make that shift happen. We had then a keynote opening remark from Ambassador Tapiola from the EU delegation here in Thailand, who shared some very personal messages on the paradigm shift that is actually necessary to promote sustainable lifestyles and circular economies. He emphasized that sustainable development is all about linking economic, social, and environmental dimensions, and that actually in the European Union, the circular economy is a key tool to achieve the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. He told us that everything is about challenging that take, make, dispose model, that linear economic model which has such a negative impact on the environment. And he tried to share the 5 key lessons which actually the European Union or Europe has learned on that pathway. He firstly told us that it's really important to have a vision. You have to have a good understanding. There needs to be a focus on sustainability, and there needs to be an understanding that human well-being is really dependent on a healthy planet and on a healthy environment. He also outlined how important it is to adopt a strategic approach, to mainstream green economy into all sectors so that they become a DNA of the economy and of the society. It's very important to create an enabling policy environment, and he gave us some example how the European Union is actually using their circular economy package to create this enabling policy framework. Last but not least, of course, green business development is very important because we need to create the economic opportunities and the investment needed. But he also highlighted that Asia Pacific needs to find its very own solution, so there's certainly no blueprint, but he wanted us also to think at an individual level how we can embrace sustainability and how we can personally make a change. In the first session, very quickly, we started off by discussing innovative policies moderated by Hong Sing. We had 4 representatives in the panel sharing some examples from China, explaining how important it actually was for China to mainstream green development into their 5-year plan and that it actually became a pillar. We had some very compelling examples from India where we learned about the power of sustainable public procurement. India spends 600 billion annually, that's 30% of their GDP, on procurement. So if we are able to make this procurement sustainable, we have a tremendous power. Globally, it's actually $10 trillion which are spent by governments annually on procurement. So if we are able to green this procurement, we can have a tremendous impact. We also had some very inspiring message from a young entrepreneur in Sri Lanka who converts tuk-tuks to electric vehicles. He just won another $10,000 in grant yesterday, so I think he's very happy and we wish him all the best. And we also heard a little bit about Thailand, about its progress Philips has made in supporting Thailand in adopting more energy efficient lighting. In the second session, we talked about money. My colleague Stephen moderated the panel, and we started off with thinking about that there's on the one hand large amounts of capital, but it's not really getting to green entrepreneurs. So we had very interesting panelists from the IFC and other organizations which actually explained that of course businesses need to make profits, but there's profit, people and planets, and that also bankers realize that. We had a bit of a discussion later on in which sequence it comes, whether it's first planet, people and profits, or the other way around, but I guess we all agree that a sustainability makes very good sense, economic, socially, and also environmentally. We learned also about crowdfunding, that crowdfunding is a very important emerging tool, especially for those green businesses which don't have a collateral and which are maybe not that well in pitching their business idea publicly. Stephen actually the moderator closed with an idea that everyone can become a winner. And maybe we also need to change the way how we compete in business. So maybe we have to compete who is being the more sustainable business rather than competing against each other on the cost of the environment. We closed the day yesterday by listening to the 10 young entrepreneurs which we have supported. They presented their startup pitches, and we gave away another $50,000, 5 grants, $10,000 each. And I would specifically thank the 10-year framework of programs and the donor, the government of Japan, who have made that possible. So for today, we will have 4 more sessions. We will have 2 sessions in the morning, one focusing on disruptive technologies, the other one on innovative business models. In the afternoon, we have another session on the behavior change, which is actually necessary to drive sustainable lifestyles. Then in the closing session, you will see me again. I will have the pleasure to actually moderate the last closing session, where I will have all the chairs of the 5 sessions, which will help me to sort of synthesize all the key messages they have distilled from their 5 sessions. So I thank you very much, and I hope that you will enjoy the day. Thank you.